So coming to the session for today. So when in today's application development, that is in Spring application development, what we are going to use all annotations. So we are going to use all annotations in the today's application development, right? So I would like to tell you today something about some of the core annotations that we use in the Spring application development. As we know, the annotations are going to play an important role or a vital role in the configuration of an application, right? So as I asked a session in the yesterday session, those who are attending from today, you haven't missed anything yesterday, because yesterday I've just only explained about Spring is non-invasive. Okay, Spring has an IOC container, dependency injection. So yesterday the session went on just only to know about the basics, right? And in the today's session, okay, the today's session of this Spring Boot and microservices, I would like to concentrate on talking about annotations. So if you already have some knowledge on annotations, now this makes you a reminder for all of them. In case if you have unknown about these annotations, then you are going to gain the subject. Because as I said, in Spring Boot applications, the configurations are allowed only in annotations. So you can't able to write application configurations, Spring Boot application configurations through XML file. Okay, right? So let us discuss about some of the base annotations what we have in Spring, and those annotations which we are going to use in our Spring Boot applications very well. That is what we are going to discuss as part of the session today. Okay, right? Some annotations I'm going to cover, and these annotations we are going to use in throughout our Spring Boot application development. Right, okay, Spring Boot applications as well as in microservices applications. Right, okay, so these basics we are going to discuss in this session, in this the first week of sessions. Then I will start with the Spring Boot and microservices session. Actually means I'll start with the Spring Boot application development. I will tell you what topics I'm going to cover as part of the Spring Boot and also as part of the microservices class. Right, so today, right, coming to the session for today, I would like to explain about something on annotations. Okay, right. See, first of all, XML is an old way of configurations. All right, XML is an old way of configurations. Clear? I mean to say that when you come to application configurations, XML and annotations are the two alternatives. XML and annotations are the two alternatives. When you talk about the Spring, in Spring, an application configuration can be done by creating an XML file, by adding some annotations, and also along with that, we can also write some Java configuration classes. So in Spring applications development, We have multiple ways of defining the configurations. Right. What we can do, we can write entire application configuration XML. You can create an XML file. This is what we are calling a Spring Beans configuration file. Am I right? This is what we are calling a Spring Beans configuration file. Spring Beans configuration file. Right. That is XML. And you can write any name for this. When you are writing an application, Spring application, that XML file name can be any name. Just you are going to add an extension .xml. Say, for example, I am writing spring.xml, which is a Spring Beans configuration file where the root tag starts with beans. This is the beans tag. And of course, you are going to add a bean tag. Basically, it has a name and class attributes, otherwise ID and class attributes, right? Right. And of course, within this bean tag, under this bean tag is going to have the tags like property, constructor -arg, something like this we are writing. This is called writing the Spring application configuration in XML file. Okay. Right. So this is the way that we write in Spring, the Spring Beans configuration file. Of course, there are multiple other tags, but writing the Spring configuration file is generally little bit easy only. So these are the three ways, these are the multiple ways we have in Spring applications to define the application configurations. One is an XML, second one is as an annotations, and third one is like a Java configuration class. But as you know, when it comes to applications, to reduce the XML as well as to avoid these writing XML configurations in application, that we are going to use annotations and we are defining Java configuration classes. So with the help of annotations and by creating Java configuration classes, what we are doing, we are completely avoiding writing these XML files in our application. Okay, right? So we are going to discuss about these, what the most used annotations in Spring applications we are going to see. Right. Because in Spring Boot, right, in Spring Boot, it allow only annotations to define configurations, but it doesn't allow XML. So that is that's the reason why I would like to first give some idea on what the annotations we are going to use frequently in Spring applications development, like stereotype annotations, right? Or some auto wording annotations and some other miscellaneous annotations. Okay, so like creating bean methods, defining the scopes, right? Okay, value annotations. So I would like to explain about something on these annotations in the session. The core annotations that we are going to just, I want to revise all of those things to you in this today's session. Okay, right. Once you got them, then we will try to start with the Spring Boot. When we start with the Spring Boot, all our Spring Boot applications are going to use what? All annotations based configuration only. It doesn't use any XML. It is only going to use all annotations. Right. So let's try to, I would like to provide you some knowledge on these annotations today. The Spring annotations we are going to cover in the session today. Right. Let's move on. Okay, let's move on. See, actually, uh, there are some annotations provided in Java. Otherwise, I can say Sun Microsystems provided some annotations to create annotations. So annotations for creating annotations. Right. I would like to tell you. Right. I would like to tell you. There are some annotations for creating annotations. And the one is there is one annotation provided called @target. And there is another annotation provided that is called @retention. So what are these two? These two are, I mean, not only these two, we have other annotations like documented, inherited, repeatable. Okay. So these are some annotations provided by Sun Microsystems, or our Java has provided them for creating annotations. Okay. These are annotations for creating annotations. Annotations for creating annotations. Okay. See. Suppose you might have observed at the time of writing the code, some annotations that you are writing at the class level, right? Maybe suppose if you have written any entities that you are going to write @entity is an annotation you are writing at the class level. Right, @entity. Right, sir. Okay, maybe for example, public class order. Okay. So you might have observed uh, like, @override. And you are writing at method level. Say for example, public something, it doesn't matter. Say Boolean equals of some parameter, something like this. Okay, now. So what? Okay, here you are writing this annotation at this method level. Override. Here you are writing this annotation at the class level. So you are writing annotations. Annotations in a code begins with @ symbol indicates that this is an annotation to the compiler. Like, for example, you write a / character, which is telling the compiler that this is a comment line and don't compile this. At the same time, to the compiler to indicate that this is an annotation, So there is an at the rate symbol is provided, at symbol, at the rate symbol. Okay, right. So this is an annotation you are writing at the class level. This is an annotation you are writing at the method level. Everyone. So of course, in Spring also, I'm going to tell you about annotations. That is what actually today's session is for. So annotations you are writing at what, either class level or at method level, or some annotations we write at field level. Say for example, I'm writing a class like this here, public class. Okay, it's something like a demo class. Suppose assume that I'm writing like this now, at value of 100 private in text. Right. So this annotation at value is added at field level, but this annotation at override is added at method level, and this is at a field level. Here it is at method level. This is at a class level. So finally, and you can use some annotations at constructor level. Right, sir? You can use annotations at a constructor level. So you can use at class level, method level, constructor level, at parameter level, at a method parameter. See, let me write. So I would like to give you all these things, sir. Just my intention is, before I start with the Spring Boot and microservices class, that in that session I am going to give you an excellent subject. There is no doubt in that. Okay, many of you, I think more than 70-80% of this meeting attendees now, or maybe I think you are all my previous students, right? Those who learned Hibernate, Spring, something like that from me. So as you know, that we don't compromise on subject. I will give you an excellent way of Spring Boot and microservices, no doubt in that. Right. The excellent subject I'll provide you on Spring Boot and microservices. Right. But before I start with the Spring Boot and microservices, my intention is I would like to recap annotations like MVC and its flow and related components. So what happens if you know them? Then at the time when you are writing applications with the Spring Boot and microservices, it becomes very easy. Right. Okay. Good. See, and today I would like to recap about the annotations part. Some of the annotations which we regularly use in applications development in Spring Boot, as well as in Spring applications without Boot, anything. Of course, nowadays you don't find there is a huge demand for Spring Boot and microservices. Right, okay. I will cover and I will tell you what concepts that we are going to cover as part of the Spring Boot and microservices in the next session. Okay, I will show you the contents, that what I am going to tell you as part of the Spring Boot and microservices. Right. So in the first 1-2 sessions, I would like to first of all give you some overview. Yesterday's session it went on for knowing about the Spring framework a little bit. Right. And today's session, and we want to continue it even further tomorrow also about these annotations. Right. Next, I will talk about MVC related flow, like what components are there and all. Then I will start why we are going to use Spring Boot and how we can develop applications, right? So next we'll continue with the Spring Boot as well as next microservices. Look at this, everyone. Say for example, I'm writing a method like this. Just I'm writing a method, public I would like to use some return type string. Check is my method name. Check is the method name. Now I would like to write like this. What? See, at request param, say parameter is string username, comma at request param. Okay, string password. Right. And of course, here I define some logic. So now if you look at this now, these annotations are used at a method level, sorry, at a parameter level. Okay. So what finally I would like to explain, annotations in application, we can use at various places, at a class level, at a method level, at a field level, at a constructor level, at a parameter level, like that. So at the time of creating an annotation in Java, actually, there is one annotation provided called a target. Target and retention are the two annotations which are used while creating annotations. These are the two annotations used while creating annotations. So these are annotations for creating annotations. Like the two annotations, the primary annotations which are used always is target and retention. These are Sun provided annotations. One is target, second one is retention. Okay. This target annotation is going to describe, you know, where the annotation can be used. Means whether this annotation can be used at class level or at a method level. Clear? Or at the parameter level or at the constructor level. So that means this target annotation is going to describe the element types. These are all called element types: class level, method level, field level, constructor level. These are all the element types. This target annotation is going to describe the element type for the annotation. So while creating an annotation, these two annotations are going to be used. These are from Sun Microsystems, target and retention. So first I would like to give you a basic idea. Okay. So next we'll relate it with our Spring annotations also. Next we'll relate with the Spring annotations also. Right. So these right now, these whatever the sessions I'm just explaining, these runtime points you write by yourself. Okay. From Spring Boot onwards, I will provide a soft copy related to Spring Boot and also next microservices. And where our applications, we are going to create generally big applications. Applications are going to be big. So what happens, those applications code I will share to you. And also the soft copy of the notes will be provided from Spring Boot onward. These are all just only basics I'm covering initially now. Because I would like to make you that at the time when you're writing Spring Boot applications and while using annotations, again, you should not get any confusion. Just I would like to provide you some basics before I start with the Spring Boot and microservices. Right. Look at this. Target and retention. So target annotation is used to describe the element types for the annotation. Right. See, for example, I would like to explain everyone, try to understand what I'm saying here. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Let's start with, okay. Try to concentrate here. Try to concentrate here. Okay, everyone. Right. Try to concentrate here. Look at the point here. See, let me tell you, everyone, let me tell you. Say for example, override annotation is there. Override is annotation. But at the rate override annotation, we can't use at a field level or even at a class level. Only we can use it at the method level. This annotation can be used at method level only, right? We cannot use it at the class level or at the field level. See, while creating this override annotation, it is created like this. How it is created? So this is the code used to create this override annotation in Java. At a target, see what element type dot method. Like this, the target is described. Public at interface is a keyword provided for creating annotations. Annotation created is override. Annotation name always starts with capital letter. Okay, some attributes are defined. Some elements or attributes are defined. Leave it. So like this, that annotation is created. So now in this, everyone in this element type is one enum. As you know that enum types in Java. Element type is an enum. It has a set of constants, and one of the constant is method. So what does it mean? This annotation can be used at method level. It is described with target annotation. So like this, target retention annotations are provided by Sun Microsystems. Of course, not only these two, and other annotations are provided for creating annotations. In that, target dash is provided to describe the element type. Right. So I would like to explain some more. See, for example, I'm creating my own annotation like this now. Means I would like to create my own an user defined annotation like this now. Say, for example, let me write here. See, @target. Let me write more than one element type. So within curly braces. Element type is one enum. Okay, element type dot. Okay, everybody, element type dot. I can use type is a one constant I am writing, comma, and one more I am writing what element type. Okay, dot method. Right. So public at interface. This is a keyword. Example, this is a keyword. Okay. Something, it doesn't matter. I would like to use, suppose my annotation name is response body. Assume that it has some attributes. Annotations are going to be defined with attributes. Leave it. So if you look at this now, here I am creating one annotation, right? I mean, my annotation name is response body. So it can be used with @response body in the code. I have created this annotation. And what I described as a target for this annotation, element type dot type. Type indicates a class or interface. Type means this constant type indicates either class or an interface. And element type method, it indicates method. So with this annotation, I am describing that this annotation can be used at class level or interface level, class or interface level, and at method level. Are you getting my point? Okay. So for example, when I am writing the code, I can use like this. Say, for example, I am writing like this. Suppose at controller, at response body, public class, okay, something. Say suppose API controller, I am creating a class. So if you look at this now, okay, what is at controller and all, don't confuse now. Maybe you know, if you don't also, don't worry. In MVC, I'm going to tell you. Now this is response body annotation. This is what we are concentrating here. Now this annotation is what I created, assume that. Now I can use it at the class level, no problem. Because at the time when I'm creating this annotation, using the target addition, I've described that what this annotation can be used at element types type and other element type is method. Type indicates class or interface level. But if I use the same annotation at the field level, then definitely I'm going to get an error. The Java compiler will provide an error. Okay, your code is not going to be compiled. If you write at the field level means like at variable level, at the variables. Right, okay. So target is one annotation. So first I would like to ask all of you, have you understood so far what I have explained? I would like to open the chat box. Okay, good, good. Right. This question asked, can we define one annotations? Yes, you can. Yes, you can, no problem. Right. Nice, nice, good. Good boss. Right. Good, nice. Okay. So that is element type is an enum. This enum is a set of constants, like a type is a constant, a method is a constant. You have a field constant, okay, na? Field constant. You have a constructor constant. Right, okay. This is a type, method, field, constructor, parameter. These are all the different constants. These are all the different constants under this enum. What is the enum? Element type. So if you want me to write, I can write like this now. Say for example, public enum element type, and now start with the constants type, method, field, parameter, constructor, and so on. Okay, right? Now you got my point. Okay. Right, boss. Okay, nice, good. So let's move on. Okay, let's move on. Right. So now, everybody, you just concentrate on. Okay, right. Consider data, because entire in Spring Boot and microservices, we use only annotations. And that is the reason why I've decided that first I want to provide you some basics on these annotations and also some frequently used annotations in Spring. I would like to cover all of them in the initial sessions. So that next when I start with the Spring Boot and means directly, I don't want to say that Spring Boot is on, so this is on, so like this is what going to happen in Spring Boot, and let us start writing applications instead of directly going into the points like that, directly into the subject. First, I want to give you some basic, the background idea. Then you will understand. See, for example, in Spring, you might have known that stereotype annotations, like at the rate component. You use all of them, right? Like at service, at repository, at controller. Okay, at rest controller, at configuration. You know, right? These are 6 annotations in Spring are called stereotype annotations. I'll explain everything in very well. Whatever I have knowledge in my, I gained my experience of Spring in this entire framework. I'll keep all this knowledge in front of you in this Spring Boot and microservices class. We'll discuss the session in a very extent way, don't worry. So these are all called stereotype annotations. I would like to ask a question now. All these annotations you have used at what level? Means my question I would like to ask is whether you have used at method level or used at class level. So write it in the chat box. Where you have used all these annotations. Use at class level and method level or only at the class level? That's what I would like to ask. Yeah. So you're all answering. Yeah. You're all answering at class level, only at class level. Right. Nice. Good. Good. So actually you have to use all these annotations only at class level. You can't use at method level or at field level. Right. You can't use at class. You can't use at method level or parameter level, constructor level, field level. You cannot use them. You can only use them at class level. Hope you people are getting my point. You can only use them, I repeat, you can only use them at class level. Okay. Do you know the meaning of stereotype? Do you know the meaning of stereotype? Can anybody? These are all called as, yeah. Yeah. Nice. See, stereotype meaning actually, right, a type which tells the role of a class in application. That's what the meaning of a stereotype. What? A type which tells the role of a class in application, that is called stereotype. Right. See, for example, yeah, all these annotations we can use only at a class level. Stereotype annotations can be used only at a class level. So while creating these, while defining these annotations, the target annotation used to describe the element type as a type. Element type is a type means it can be used only at either a class level or at interface level. We can use it either a class level, or class level means interface level also. Separately, no need to tell about interface level. right? See, for example, when you create an application, in application, you are finding so many classes. Everyone, try to understand what I'm saying now. Okay. There are so many classes you are finding in application within a Spring application. But if you find any classes with annotation at service, now this annotation is telling that what the classes having this annotation belongs to service layer or business layer. Right. And for example, the classes which are having this at controller annotation. Now these classes with this annotation are going to become the classes in presentation layer, controller classes. At service indicates these are service layer classes. The role of this class is it is in service layer. This is in controller. This is in presentation layer. Repository, it is in the data access layer. Right? REST controller, it is in the integration layer. So the role of a class is informed with this annotation. These are called stereotype annotations. Component is a general purpose annotation. And it indicates that this class is a Spring Bean component. Okay, Spring Bean component. Right. And this component is identified in auto scanning. I think in Spring auto scanning topic. Components auto scan feature is there in Spring. Right, sir. Okay. Of course, I'll explain all such kind of annotations. Okay, that is what actually I started because first of all, I would like to remind you all the basics, and then we'll enter into the topic of the Spring Boot and microservices. Okay, clear? So these are all annotations. These are all stereotype annotations. These annotations can be only used at class level or at interface level. Class level or at interface level, we can use all these annotations. These are all called what? Stereotype annotations. Right, okay. Say for example, of course, I will give an idea. For example, let me write at service. Right. Say for example, public class. Say for example, customer service IMPL. Yeah, which implements customer service. Right, okay, which implements customer service. So this here we are writing annotation at service. Annotation name always starts with a capital letter. Yeah, S is in capital. Every annotation name begins with an uppercase letter only. At symbol indicates annotation. It is an indication to the compiler that it's an annotation. At service. Now this annotation we are using at a class level. Right, sir. Okay. So you have to, understand the point here. So at the time when these annotations are defined in Spring, using target, they are described that they can be used at class level. Okay. And the next, there is one more. The two annotations which I would like to explain from Sun Microsystems, that is from Java, that is target and retention. Target used to specify or used to describe the element types. Okay. If element type is described as type, then that annotation can be used at class level or interface level. If it is described as method, only at method level. Multiple element types can also be described using target annotation. Retention annotation used to specify that at what point of time, or say at which point of time, the annotation can be discarded from the application. At what point of time the annotation can be discarded. Annotation can be discarded from the application. See, some annotations are useful till the code is compiled. And some annotations are useful till that class is loaded into JVM. Some annotations are useful even after loading the class into JVM, till the JVM is terminated. The currently running JVM is terminated. Right. See, for example, I would like to explain. See, everyone, try to understand. Try to understand, everyone. See, these basics of annotations are important. I would like to ask you a question. Suppose you take @ override annotation. My question to all of you, is there any use of this annotation even after a Java, a Java file is compiled? After compiling a Java program, is there any use of this override annotation? I would like to ask you. Is there any use of this annotation even after compiling the Java program? Yeah. I'm asking a simple question. Even after once you compile the Java code, is it required this, override annotation? Is there any use of this annotation after compiling the code? Yeah. As answer is no, not required. At the compile time, see, at the compile time, the compiler is going to check whether the method is properly overridden or not. It's going to check whether the method is properly overridden or not. The method name is matching or not. Are you getting my point? Okay. Are you getting my point? Okay. And arguments types are matching or not. That is going to be verified. At what time? At compile time. And once the code is compiled, then there is no use of this annotation. Means what? This annotation is no need to enter into the .class file. So it should be discarded immediately when this Java program is compiled. From the application, it should be discarded. It should not enter into .class file. So that is a retention policy. That is one retention policy. A retention policy tells when that annotation should be discarded from the code. That is what called a retention policy. Right, okay. So there are retention policies. Retention policy. I like to show you. There are 3 constants in retention policy. I'll tell you. I'll show you. Retention policy. It is one enum. Enum retention policy. You can see this. Enum retention policy. It has 3 constants. Class, source, class, runtime. 3 constants are source, class, runtime. What is the source description given? Annotations are to be discarded by the compiler. So I just want to show you source, class, runtime. Retention policy. It is one enum. Say like public enum retention policy. What are the three constants? Source, everyone. Source, class, runtime. Okay, source indicates what the annotation is discarded by the compiler, means it is visible in the source code, but no need to enter into the class file. Class means if the retention policy is a class means it should, it is retained in the source code and also in the .class file, but when the class is loaded into JVM, while loading a class into JVM, it is discarded. Generally, I don't find any annotations with this retention policy as a class, but one policy is provided. Means annotation is there in .class file, will enter into .class file, but it is discarded from the application when the class is going to be loaded into JVM. Means that annotation is not loaded to JVM. Most of the annotations will contain runtime policy. Runtime in the sense, it is there in your source code, and when you compile, it will enter into class file, and also it is loaded into JVM. That is what called what runtime. That is called retention policy runtime. So most of our Spring annotations are having the retention policy as runtime. For example, you take stereotype annotations. All these stereotype annotations, have the retention policy as runtime only. Okay, which means that what there is a use of this annotation in the JVM. The annotation should be visible in JVM also, because in Spring applications, component scan feature will run within the JVM at the runtime, and during that component scan, the Spring will identify the Spring components, nothing but the Spring beans, using the stereotype annotations like service, controller, repository, component, like that. So all the or not only the stereotype annotations, almost all the Spring annotations have the retention policy as runtime. All the Spring annotations has retention policy as runtime, which means all the annotations, the Spring annotations are visible within the JVM. Are visible within the JVM. Right, okay. So override annotation, its retention policy is a source. Because once a source code is compiled, there is no need, this annotation is no need to enter into the class file, because its work is completed. That is the reason why it is not going to enter into the .class file. So I guess that you people are understanding what I'm trying to say. Okay, right. So most of our Spring annotations are having the retention policy as runtime. Retention policy as runtime. Okay, right? Good. So what annotations we mostly use in Spring application, of course, in Spring as well as in Spring Boot applications, is stereotype annotations. Stereotype annotations are used to specify the role of a class. Right, role of a class. See, for example, I will tell you why these annotations are stereotype annotations are provided. Everyone, try to understand here. See, look at this, everyone. See, for example, there is a class, something I created, public class, okay now, and some name I provided, doesn't matter what name I have provided. This is one class I have defined. It has various fields and various methods. It has variables and methods, nothing but attributes and methods. So there is a class I defined. See, by looking this class, if for example somebody wants to know, by looking at the class, if somebody wants to know whether this class is having any some business logic or a presentation logic. I mean, it is having any presentation layer logic or a service layer logic or a data access layer. I mean, persistence layer logic or repository layer logic. If I ask any, if anybody wants to understand that, first of all, then directly by looking at the class header, they can't find anything. By looking at the class header, they cannot find that whether this class has a presentation layer logic or a service layer logic or a repository layer logic. Then how can somebody is going to understand that this class is having a service layer logic or repository layer logic or presentation layer logic? So that person has to go through the code, defined in the class, and so that they can understand, okay, this logic belongs to service layer, so it is a service layer class, or it is a repository layer class, something like that, right? Okay, but if I write, for example, if I write annotation directly, for example, if I write annotation directly, say for example, I'm writing at service, so now what the other can understand easily my code, that no need to go through the code what I have defined in the class. Just by seeing the class header, now somebody can understand my code that, okay, this class has a service layer logic. And that is what the meaning of stereotype. So by writing this type at service, now it is telling that the role of this class is a service layer class. This class is having the service layer code, a business logic code. I think you are getting what I'm trying to. That is what the meaning of stereotype. And all the stereotype annotations, there are 6 stereotype annotations are there. Stereotype annotations are very regularly used in application development. 6 stereotype annotations are there. Right? I have already given the names. And at component annotation is the base for the remaining 5. At component, it tells that it's a bean component, that's all. So that bean components we can write in service layer, in presentation layer, and the repository layer. So means what at component is a base annotation for all the remaining. What are the remaining, like at service, at repository, like at controller, are you getting my point? At rest controller. Okay. So for all these, component is a base annotation. At component is a base annotation. Right, okay. At configuration. You can write it at configuration. So these are all for the remaining 5 annotations, component is a base annotation. Service component, repository is a component, controller, REST control. These are all components in Spring application. The base annotation is at the rate component. These are all called stereotype annotations. Like that, we have 6 stereotype annotations in Spring, and they are used to tell the role of a class. And all those annotations can be used at class level. At the class level. Okay, right? So I mean, you got something about the stereotype annotations today. And remember, the 2 annotations which are mostly used while creating annotations are at the rate target. These are Sun provided annotations. These are not from Spring Framework, at target and at retention. So finally, for example, if I write, before I conclude the session for today, if I write something like this now, just to try to understand, will tell you, right? Okay, this is a base annotation for all the remaining. So suppose if you are using at service at the class level means what? You are already using component also. So no need of writing at service at component like this, because you are already using service means you already have component also. Okay, so no need of writing at component and at service, only at service. We can use like that. It's a service component. Okay. Component is nothing but a class which contains logic. In Spring, it is called bean component. Right. So look at me. Look at me. I'll try to provide you. Say, for example, everyone try to understand. Say, for example, I'm writing finally one annotation like this. Okay, I'm just writing one annotation like this. Okay, try to understand here. At a target of, I can write, observe clearly. Element type dot method. Next, I'm writing at retention say retention policy dot runtime. Public at interface. Okay, just I'm writing demo. There are some attributes in annotation. Leave it. Now, finally, I would like to ask you what you have understood with this code. I would like to ask you what you have understood with this code. Yeah. Stereotype annotations are provided by Spring. Target and retention annotations are provided by Sun Microsystems. They are annotations for creating annotations. Now I'm asking a question to all of you, what you have understood with this code, whatever I have written here. Tell me what you have understood now. Okay, it is my own annotation. It is a user defined annotation. My own annotation I'm creating. What is the annotation I created? Demo is the name of annotation. Means I can use at a demo like this. In coding, I can use at a demo. At a demo is annotation I created. But I'm asking all of you what you have understood with this. Right. Yes. Yeah. Finally, what you have understood? Yeah. Demo is annotation I created, so I can use it like at a demo. At what level I can use this annotation? At method level. I can use this annotation at method level, right? And this annotation is visible, is available till runtime. Till runtime means within the JVM also. Till runtime it is available. Means it is available, visible within the JVM also. Because retention policy I given is runtime. If I give retention policy source, for example, its meaning is what? This annotation will be discarded by the compiler during compilation time. Nothing but what? It is visible in the .java file but doesn't enter into .class file. Okay. Source means it is visible in Java file but doesn't enter into class file. Retention policy class means it is visible in .java file and .class file but not visible in JVM. Runtime means it's a highest level. It is visible in .java file, .class file, and also visible in JVM. That's what the difference between the three levels, the three retention policies. I think you might have understood the session, something about annotations. Right, okay. What are the two enum types you learned here? One is element type and next one is retention policy. These are the two enum types. They have constants. Right. So I think you got that. So stereotype annotations are there in Spring. These are called Spring core module annotations actually. Of course, I'll tell you about auto whirring. Auto whirring and stereotype annotations are very much important in everywhere in the application development of Spring. Either in Spring Boot applications and while creating microservice applications. Only we use mostly what stereotype annotations and auto whirring annotations only. So stereotype annotations I've just given introduction today. Tomorrow I'll give more elaborated explanation for stereotype annotations followed by auto whirring annotations. We'll discuss about what auto whirring is and the various ways of using the auto whirring annotations. And I'll tell you what is component scan. What is a component scan feature we have? And what is the meaning of writing the bean methods? How to create bean methods? Okay, right? So these are all important. If you know about these things very well, next I'll talk about in MVC applications, what are the components we have in Spring MVC and how the flow will be. What are the various components involved in that? So that when I'm teaching the Spring Boot and microservices, you don't find any, hard or difficulty. That is what my intention actually. That's the reason why I slowly started first to teach all these things, the basics. Once again, I want to recap. Maybe if you have already used or if you know already, then don't worry. Just it will give a recap of all these things to you. This recap is important to go into our further actual sessions. And I also intimate about this session to your friends or colleagues, somebody you want to learn Spring Boot and microservices. Right. Okay. So we are going to discuss. I will tell you in the session tomorrow the entire the syllabus what we are going to discuss as part of the Spring Boot and microservices class. But I will present the entire course content that I'm going to show you what we are going to cover in the Spring Boot and microservices. Okay, na? All right. So that is the session for today, and hope you have enjoyed it. Okay.